starting point for analysis is the cost structure of the firm. The first cost we'll look at is the firm's total costs. In this video, you will learn the total costs the firm incurs when it exists, the components of total costs, the formula for total costs, and how to interpret a total cost graph. The total cost for a firm are all the costs involved in producing a good or service. Total costs are broken down in two general components. One, fixed costs, or costs that the firms must pay whether or not it produces a good or service. The words fixed costs are often abbreviated FC. Two, variable costs are the costs that the firm must pay if it produces a good or service. Variable costs are associated with inputs like labor that the firm can change the amount of in the short run. The words variable costs are often rated VC. The mathematical formula describing total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost, or TC is equal to FC plus VC. Here's a table with our printer's manufacturer's costs. The first column represents the amount of output or production of the firm. In this case, it's printers. The second column represents fixed costs of the manufacturer. The example of fixed costs is the mortgage payment on the owner's factory, which he must make or she must make each month regardless whether they produce anything or not. The third column represents variable costs. In our case, labor. The fourth column represents the total manufacturing cost of printers. Before discussing the particular features of our total cost graph, let's take a minute to understand the structure of the graph. The horizontal or x-axis represents the total production or output of a good. The amount of total production or output increases as we move from left to right. The vertical axis represents total cost. Total cost increases as one moves from the bottom upward. Looking at the graph of total costs, there are two particular features which should strike you about it. First, notice that the total cost starts at 10, not 0. The fact that this is the result of some costs of the firm are fixed and will need to be paid whether or not the firm actually produces or not. Since the graph starts at $10, this implies that the firm has a fixed cost of $10. Second, the total costs also increase as the amount of output increases. This aspect of the graph represents the fact that the firm's total costs have a variable component. The line itself represents the variable costs of the firm. In this video, you learned total costs are the costs associated with the production of a good or service. Total cost is divided into two types of costs, fixed cost and variable cost. The formula for total cost is total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. 4. The place where the total cost curve touches the y vertical axis is the fixed cost of production. 5. Total costs increase as the firm produces more of the good.